Landman here. I study how people build financial ground and how it washes away when they're not looking. There is a specific kind of financial drain that is almost impossible to feel in real time. Not because it is small, it is often enormous. Not because it is hidden, it is listed clearly on every bank statement. But because it arrives in the same amount, at the same time, every single month. And the human brain is specifically wired to stop registering things that are regular, expected, and unchanging. Fixed costs are the groundwater drain. They work below the surface. They remove water from the soil before you ever see it. And by the time most people look down and notice the ground is dry, the drain has been running for years. The average American household with an income between $80,000 and $120,000 carries fixed monthly obligations, housing, vehicle payments, insurance, subscriptions, minimum debt service that consume between 65 and 75% of their after-tax income before a single discretionary dollar is spent. Let that sit for a moment. Before the groceries, before the dinner out, before the clothing or the weekend trip or the small indulgence that feels like the actual problem, 65 to 75% of the money is already spoken for, already committed, already flowing to obligations that were locked in most cases, years ago. This is the architecture of financial stagnation. Not the latte, not the impulse buy. The architecture, the fixed structure that was assembled gradually, lock by lock, commitment by commitment, each one reasonable at the time, each one permanent in a way that felt temporary when it was agreed to. Here is what makes fixed costs psychologically different from variable spending, and this distinction is the one that most personal finance content completely misses. Variable spending is visible. You make a choice, you see the result, you can adjust the next day. Fixed costs are invisible in the sense that they require no choice. They happen automatically. They debit silently. They are not a decision you make each month, they are a decision you made once, long ago, that continues to execute without your participation or your awareness. This is why willpower-based budgeting fails against fixed costs. You cannot will your way out of a mortgage payment you locked in 3 years ago. You cannot discipline your way around an insurance premium that auto-debits every first of the month. The drain is structural. And structural problems require structural solutions. The psychology of fixed cost accumulation follows a predictable pattern that behavioral economists call commitment creep. Each individual commitment feels like a one-time decision. The lease on the vehicle, the upgrade to the larger apartment, the addition of the dental plan, the phone plan for the new device. Each one, at the moment of commitment, is evaluated against current income and current circumstances. None of them are evaluated against the cumulative weight of all prior commitments. And because each one is signed in isolation, because your brain processes each lock as a standalone decision rather than as an addition to an already heavy chain, the total weight accumulates invisibly until the chain becomes the constraint. Let's build the math on a specific household. Gross income, $100,000. After federal and state taxes at a combined effective rate of 28%, take home is approximately $72,000 annually, $6,000 per month. Now the fixed cost inventory. Rent or mortgage, $1,800 per month. 2 vehicle payments, combined $900 per month. Insurance, health, auto, renters, $450 per month. Phone plans, too, $180 per month. Subscriptions tracked, $220 per month. Minimum debt service on student loans and credit cards, $400 per month. Total fixed obligations, $3,950 per month. Against a take-home of $6,000 per month, that leaves $2,050 for everything else. Groceries, gas, clothing, medical copays, home maintenance, gifts, savings, investment. Everything. $2,050. And here is the number that changes the conversation. If even 400 of those fixed costs, 2 vehicle payments reduced by refinancing, 2 subscriptions canceled, 1 insurance policy adjusted were redirected to investment, that $400 per month at 7% over 25 years becomes over $330,000. That is not found money. That is not a raise. That is existing groundwater currently draining silently into fixed obligations redirected to soil that actually grows something. Here is the controversial observation about fixed costs that nobody in the financial services industry has a commercial incentive to make. Fixed costs in many categories are the primary revenue model. Housing finance, vehicle finance, insurance products, subscription software, telecommunications, these industries are built on the predictability and permanence of your fixed payment. They are not designed to be renegotiated. They are designed to be renewed at higher rates with switching friction built in specifically to reduce the likelihood that you will ever evaluate whether the commitment still makes sense. The mortgage lender does not send you a quarterly letter reminding you to shop rates. The insurance company does not suggest annually that you might be overinsured. The phone carrier does not flag that you are paying for data you are not using. The fixed cost structure is engineered to be invisible because visibility would lead to renegotiation, and renegotiation reduces the revenue. Understanding this is not paranoia. It is financial literacy at the structural level. Landman's approach to fixed costs begins with one annual exercise called the fixed cost audit. Every 12 months, every committed obligation is listed on one page. Not category-specific line items. The actual dollar amount, the actual contract term if applicable, the actual renewal date. Then 3 questions for each line. Is this still the best available price for what it provides? Is the level of service still appropriate for current life circumstances? And if I were making this commitment today, knowing what I know now, would I make it again on these terms? Most households that complete this audit honestly find between $400 and $800 per month in fixed costs that either fail the price test, the relevance test, or the recommitment test. Some of these can be renegotiated. Some can be eliminated. Some require waiting for a contract term to expire before adjusting. But the audit makes them visible. And visible costs can be managed. Silent costs can only drain. The groundwater runs whether or not you can see it. Fixed costs are not the enemy shelter, and transportation and protection are real needs. But the specific dollar amounts, the specific providers, the specific terms that were locked in years ago under different circumstances, those are negotiable. Those are revisable. Those are the underground pipes that can be rerouted without dismantling the whole system. Look at the ground beneath you. Not at this month's discretionary spending. At the architecture of what runs automatically every month without your participation. That is where the groundwater goes. If this made you want to run your own fixed cost audit, subscribe. That's all. Just subscribe. New ground here every week.